Hello there. It's been a while, hasn't it? Yes. Justin is back this year for another book review, and hopefully he's actually going to continue doing it all year long instead of just giving up halfway through. Um, and this video is going to be very awkward because normally I have my camera in front of the monitor, which is right here. But because I'm in a new place, my computer won't reach that far. So it's sitting on my speaker, so it's off to the side, but I can see myself over here. So if I start looking the wrong way, not at the camera, I'm sorry. Okay, so last year, my New Year's resolution was to read 100 books, and I failed. I only read like 70 something. I stopped counting because I knew I wasn't going to make it. So this year, I'm going to try to read 50, although 50 technical books, or technical slash nonfiction. And I really doubt that I'm going to complete that, but I'm going to try anyways. So this month I read 6 books. Only 3 of them were nonfiction. The rest were fiction. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first book I read was, or actually was not this, was The Art of Deception. Let's try to get it not glare, by Kevin Mitnick. So Kevin Mitnick is this hacker dude, went to jail for a while. And in The Art of Deception, he talks about a bunch of social engineering techniques. And it was really interesting. I learned a lot about phone companies. Because back in the day, everything was connected through the phone lines. And he goes through a ton of scenarios. And we'll get to this later, but he calls all of the things in the book scenarios that he has made up. So like he doesn't admit to doing any of this stuff. He's just saying, "Oh, this could happen," and it goes over quite a bit in social engineering. I found it very enjoyable. You're probably not interested in social engineering though, so would not recommend this to the general population. All right, the next one is Ghost in the Wires, also by Kevin Mitnick. In this one, he actually takes responsibility for all the things that he did in this book. He talks about how he does all of it, and I think this was written like 10 years later when he wasn't going to get in trouble for saying any of this stuff anymore. So, this went over his story as he's running away from the FBI and all sorts of stuff. I really don't like him as a person. He put his family through a bunch of crap. He would always like call his mom and grandma while he was on the run, and they would help him out and drive him places. But he just kind of dragged them through the mud and made them, or he didn't really make them, but just put them through a lot because they always were going to the jail and trying to help him out. But yeah, towards the end, it talks about how the government just totally screwed him over and did a lot of unconstitutional stuff. So he got away a bit lighter than he was thinking. So it was interesting, although I don't like this guy. He's not a very good person, but the stuff he does is interesting. Okay. Also, probably, I mean, this is more accessible than the other book, where it's just going through scenarios. It's an interesting story, so if you're interested in hacker dudes running away from the government, then you might find it fun. And I learned a lot about phone companies as well from this. All right, moving on to our third nonfiction was Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. I read a book last year. I don't remember if I included it in a book review by this guy. It's called Persuasion. But this one goes over the 7 principles of influence and has lots of cool psychological studies to back it up. So if you're interested in social engineering or psychology, very cool read. Otherwise, probably should not be interested. Yeah, it's a pretty fun read. Learned a lot. Very cool. Very things you wouldn't think happen. So it talked about the bystander effect. There's this lady that got like stabbed 1 billion times in the middle of this apartment building in New York, and it was talking about how no one called the police, and the media at the time was saying that it was just a product of living in a city. People don't care about each other anymore. But then they studied it and found that the larger a group people are in, the less likely they are to help out someone else. So then it also went over a strategy for trying to get help if you need help, which is basically just designate one person to help you and order them to help you, pretty much, instead of trying to get a group or an individual within a group to step out and help you. So very cool, very, very cool book. But again, unless you're interested in psychology, probably shouldn't read it. Okay. Then we read Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson. And I have like a bunch of Neal Stephenson books, and I'm trying to read through them. They're all very long and very technical, although it's still fiction. This was written a long time ago, and a lot of the stuff that he talks about has actually showed up in our culture. So very cool. It's about a pizza boy, samurai, hacker man, that tries to avoid drugs. No, okay. So I mean, well, that is pretty much true, but there's this drug called Snow Crash, which is like infecting the minds of people, and is going after programmers. And it has this theory in the book, like programmers have their own neural pathways ingrained in their brains, and you can show them a bitmap, and like give them viruses and stuff, which is kind of a stretch, but is kind of a cool concept at the same time. So basically, there's like a force in the book that is trying to get rid of the intelligista elite, the technologists, all the programmers that are hanging out in the metaverse in the book, and it wants to destroy their minds. And it goes a lot into language, very, very cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is a cool book for anybody, but Neal Stephenson does write really long books that are somewhat technical, so if you're able to get through it, it is very rewarding and very cool idea. All right, moving on. And I read The End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov. You guys probably already know that Asimov is one of my favorite writers, and this was very good, which was to be expected because it's Asimov. So this is about a group of people called the Eternals, and basically they did some time engineering and are able to access all the centuries up to a certain point. And the Eternals are the people in charge of making the centuries better. So it's kind of dystopian. It's all like, oh, we're the Eternals. We're going to make every century as good as it can be for the greatest amount of people. And the book kind of gives an answer to why that's not necessarily good. So it was pretty insane wrapping your head around the concepts of time in the book, because people are going back and forth, upwind and downwind, and it also has a love story. So if if you like love, if you like time, if you hate utilitarianism like I do, you'll love The End of Eternity. Okay. Last, I read Do Androids Dream? Electric Sheep by Philip Dick. So this one was awesome. It's about a society where animals are pretty much gone, which, you know, is awesome. And instead, they replaced them with fakes, or false animals, basically, like little robotic ones that appear to be real. And they have this whole market for trading real animals that everyone carries around their monthly issue of to see how much it would cost to buy an animal. But anyways, it's about a guy who's hunting down androids that appear to be human, and he can test if a person is a human or an android based on if they have empathy or not. Which I don't know what empathy is. That's a foreign concept to me. However, there's a test for it in the book, and all the androids fail, and some humans might fail as well. So it's not 100% perfect, but anyway, this guy goes around and hunts androids, and it's very interesting because you keep wondering, is the main character an android? Is this person an android? Is this person an android? And you find out eventually, but very cool read. Definitely makes you think maybe androids have feelings too. I don't know. I don't have feelings. Anyways, it was very fun, and pretty much anyone could read it, in my opinion. Very fun. Read it. Okay, so that was 6 this month. 3 of them were going towards my technical goal, which is probably not going to be reached of 50 books this year. And 3 were just for fun. I still got... I'm reading a bunch of technical books at the same time. So I'm just like trying to get through them eventually. And yeah, it's not going to be too fun, but I'm going to enjoy it. So I will try to post stuff more often. I'm not going to abandon everyone this year because I love you guys and I know you love me. How can you not love me? I love myself. Everyone should love me. Anyways, that about covers it. Let me forecast. Let me forecast what next month will be like. I would assume next month I would probably read 2 to 3 nonfiction books and probably 3 to 4 works of fiction, hopefully. It's going to be kind of busy at work, and there's another life circumstance that I cannot disclose that would take up some of my time, but I think I can manage it. So I will see you guys next month, maybe sooner if I decide to throw out some sexy gameplay in the most family-friendly way possible. But thank you for watching all of this, because I know you had to make it through to the end. I mean, I'm going to watch this. As soon as I upload it, I'm going to watch it all the way to the end and be like, dang, that was awesome. What a great way to start off 2018. Okay, I'm done. I'm out. Thank you for watching. Au revoir. Sayonara.